Oh my Kia, we have so much to talk about. Everything happened in this episode. Was it enough?
I definitely think that there were so many things that angered, enraged, made me feel malice.
How much woe?
So woeful.
Some frolic.
But I loved it. I was so much frolic to balance
Milchick
it out.
responsible for the frolic.
Yeah.
I think it was a great final episode. I think it did so much. Sometimes I felt they probably could have told this arc in 6 episodes. I know I'm completely alone.
Yucking my yum once again.
I think this episode was perfect,
Yes.
by itself. I do have my problems with the season. I would make no changes to this episode by itself. It feels like they wrote this almost first, like they knew where this season was going the whole time. So maybe they did meander a little bit to get here occasionally, depending on your thoughts. Not your thoughts.
Me frolic on my way to the finale, please.
The most interesting line is a squiggle. It had to be this. I don't think it could have been anything else. And I am interested to see whether the theories might have dampened people's excitement on it, because obviously we're going to be spoiling the shit out of this episode and the entire season. But everyone was drumming up Cold Harbour to be Gemma conquering death or drowning or having someone else's consciousness poked inside her head, or Rickon being a goat. He still might be. Turns out that it is a Cold Arbor. The cradle is actually called Cold Arbor.
Oh.
It's like the IKEA name, I guess.
Cool Arbor.
And it's disassembling that, and it's
emotional damage
that she has to keep the severance block on.
Because she has been refined 25 times by her husband over the past 2 years.
Yes, that was his job, because Cobell tells us, and we did guess in episode 1.
Because of that last final shot of episode 1.
Yeah, they literally go hey, look at these numbers. Hey, look at Gemma. Hey, look at these numbers. Look at Gemma. And we're like, I wonder if Gemma's the numbers.
Guys, I'm starting to think maybe these numbers have something to do with Gemma.
Yeah,
Am I
it's one of
IQ
those.
550?
It's one of those shit posts, my theory is, and tell me if I'm stupid, I think this Lumen company's kind of sus.
Something's going on here, guys. I don't know about
Evil?
you. So we learned that she is the numbers, and the refining process is, as you said, in episode 7, I think, Mark has been basically chiseling away separate versions of her. So making different innies for Gemma and putting up the walls, the building blocks for the walls, I guess is the way they talk about it. And that way each individual Gemma innie has to go through her own specific trauma, which is definitely more evil, I feel, than making one innie go through a bunch of different tortures. So there's varieties. It's every innie gets their own personal hell.
Is it Gemma just because it was a happy accident? She's had an accident, here's our moment, get in and get her. It could just be that.
Yeah, I did want to know about Gemma's accident, and we learned nothing about it. In fairness, she was busy, she was escaping, she was running the whole time and barely took a breath. She didn't obviously be like, oh my god, I haven't seen you since I had that car crash and they stole me.
I do wonder if this room starts this way and the intention was for it to build to something maybe more.
It can't be, because she was supposed to die the next day. That was the way Cobell explained it.
But all the other testing floors, she's been there multiple times. Why?
Because we need a big ticking clock that says if he doesn't go down today, then it's a riding thing.
Before all that, we get what Dan Erickson said, the scene he's been wanting to write since he conceived the show, and that's the inn in the alley having a conversation.
And it's what I've wanted them to do since the start, because that's so interesting. We get our Gollum and our Schmeagol.
The way they do it with the tactile handycam, with the beeping.
We get color-coded. When he's outside, he doesn't have the firelight on him, so he's blue.
Yeah.
And he does come across a little bit colder, because he's basically saying, hey, I need you to sacrifice yourself to get my wife back. Audi Mark, obviously, bunch of trauma, is incredibly sarcastic, but he kind of views Innie Mark as his, property, like a baby. He's 2 years old, I created you, I can kill you.
Yeah, which I kind of get.
He's never had a conversation with the man
No.
before, and all Lumen has ever said is, hey, this is your Innie, he's a good little worker boy, and you're like, cool, thank you very much.
It was kind of cute seeing Audi Mark have his, Flynn Rider smirk at, I'm going to manipulate the shit out of this man.
Yeah.
You don't understand, this is going to be so good for us.
And we're going to
We're
get
gonna
reintegrated, I
unite.
promise.
The look of wonder and curious joy at seeing his Audi.
Yeah, that was cute.
From both of them as well, but different.
Yeah, so good. And that you do, obviously I know it's not, and it shows a level of investment that you do view these people as two completely separate characters, that you don't think of them as Adam Scott.
The best moment for me in that little conversation is when Innie Mark catches on. He already kind of views the Audis as the bad guys. He's wary of them.
I do feel like it's also a reflection back to the scene in the booth with Helena and Mark Audi, where she calls her Hannah instead. And I feel like Mark Audi saying Heleny and not having the attention to detail of even knowing what her name was inside
Yes.
made him go, oh, you don't see us as humans the same way. Like, not that any Mark
No,
necessarily knew that. That felt like the same parallel. Yeah, that's why that was the switching moment for any Mark to be like, oh, fuck you, actually. I'm not going to do what you want.
Yeah, and then he just goes all out. We get the fire that I've wanted from any Mark the whole time. I mean, either Mark, actually. Both Marks got very, very frustrated because neither of them is doing what the other wants. One wants the other to die, and the other won't get his wife back unless the other one does.
They've set up this clash over this season. The first thing Innie Mark did was run about and try and find Miss Casey. He spent the first 2 episodes doing that. The Ortbo changed things for him.
Helena got her claws in him.
That's it. Addy Mark's been trying to reintegrate, has been knowingly doing something that would affect Innie Mark, so he clearly doesn't think of Innie Mark too much of a person.
Yeah, his plan is to absorb Innie Mark. Reintegration is semi-misleading in the fact that one's 40, the other's 2.
I'm just going to take your memories, is basically what he's thinking. It's not like he's going to take his emotions.
I'll remember my work on the MDR floor for 2 years, whereas you'll cease to exist.
And also, it's not that he's like, yeah, fuck Innie Mark. He's thinking, my wife's alive, so I'm going to do whatever it is to get her out of there, which is a very understandable emotional response. So after he has that little bit with Cobell, she basically says the way this is going to be is that tomorrow's your last day no matter what the situation is. So do it.
Here is your big ticking clock.
And then we get that amazing transition.
To behold the glory of Cold Harbour.
And Mark's there looking like Avicii, rest in peace, with the hand up, about to drop a sick beat.
We get absolutely everyone we've ever seen in the show. We get Christopher Walken, Irv's there.
The goats, the Egan family on there, so Helena and Helly, 2 separate people.
And then Helly rocks up right behind him.
After she's had her conversation with dear old dad.
Yes, which is interesting because there is a time gap there. Between her about to stab him to her coming down the elevator, we see nothing. We do know that she was about to stab him, decided not to stab him, and he comes clean about a few things. He hates Helena, but he loves Helly because he sees Keir in her.
Shock horror? Distant cold dad hates his daughter?
I thought Keir was like the ultimate Zen Buddhist.
Well, that's exactly the thing Joseph Smith would say, right?
Yeah.
They'd lie and make themselves seem like they were a prophet when they were just a normal.
Like Scientology. He's completely aware that he's just a science fiction author.
Yeah, he does say that the birthing lodges are to sire a bunch of kids because he figured, I'll make one eventually, right? I'll have an heir worthy of me.
And it's them drinking their own Kool-Aid, at least with James. He believes in this. It's not that he's, what maybe we thought early on in the show, that these CEOs are just normal people to like
mustache
fuck
twirling.
it, like can they accept a bullshit religion when they've been severed?
Yeah, you were thinking a lot that it's like, how much shit can we put these innies through and see when they like break.
But then James clearly believes himself and he wants the ideal prophet, like sire, like the pure blood or whatever.
Which also makes even Helena more interesting because obviously his dear old dad is one hell of a believer. She's also been raised to believe.
Very interesting, because I thought initially, are we going to get a fooled you again, shame on you moment where it's actually Helena again? They don't want to risk him not doing Cold Harbour, so they've got Helena in there.
But I'm her, Mark.
So I was waiting for the moment when 100% happened, she would have went, grab him, and just got him out of there.
I'm not crazy against that theory because like it's exactly what Helena wants.
Yes.
Especially her approaching him outside of work at the Chinese place. It seems like she does want to just take over Helly. And if she's now found out that dear old dad doesn't love her but loves her Innie, so maybe she can be more like her Innie.
Assuming she reviews the tapes all the time.
Yeah, she very well could. After a day of work, you'd want to know what your Innie did, right? If your Innie's been trying to kill you multiple times. And like you want to see yourself make out with Mark a couple of times.
I was called crazy for initially thinking that Helena was back a few episodes ago. And in this scene, I genuinely didn't even consider it being Helena. I thought it was Helly the whole time.
When he gets down there, we get the use of darkness and them being in the corner, so it's all just, and then them walking up there, and then the echo. Beautiful.
Loved it.
And then they walking to MDR and find the animatronic that may be set up back in episode 1.
Ours were animatronic. They even did this little choreographed dance.
So yours just stand there?
Mark S.
I thought bored immediately. I was like, oh my god, he is real.
Yeah, because the movement and all that, but you're right. But when Milchick dared to give him that amazing because you're 5 inches taller than you actually were, would you really say that to the big boss who's still alive and living in the network?
Yeah.
And how could he still be alive, as we've said, because he would have died in the early 1900s. So unless they put him on ice, like Walt Disney style, maybe, who knows?
They light up the computers. Helly says, do it. And then we get some of the grossest shots I've ever seen in my life. Obviously intentional.
Yeah, with
but
the
like the
green.
mottled blue-green
Yeah.
lighting, absolutely disgusting. And they're talking about the fact that they're probably moments away from dying. Like if they do what they're doing, they're going to die.
Yeah.
But they might as well do the right thing and die. So completely intentional, so disgusting. You'd never use that in any other setting. But that's why it's good that they're able to have fun. Like so many shows are obsessed with looking good all the time.
Which is the insane thing because, like, it's blue and green should never be seen unless there's a color in between. And I mean, they do put colors in between, but they pick two of the most should be uncomfortable, disgusting colors together, and it just looks so beautiful every single time. So even in that scene, I was like, yeah, it looks kind of gross, but it still to me looked really pretty.
Been trying to think of other place names besides Delaware. I don't know, Delaware.
We get a bit more sadness. They reference season 1, episode 1.
Yes, the name, the state.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of states that aren't Delaware because
Yeah, right. yeah.
apparently some info does get through the Severance barrier.
They know the word equator, but they don't know what it was. But they know it must mean big, like equator. Like they know the feeling that it means
It
big.
feels big, yeah. So
Yeah.
she's like a whole continent, and then they're joking around. They have a cute little moment of maybe it's just a building, which again, we haven't had that much of them just like talking to each other.
I do think this episode was meant to set us up to experience the Four Tempers, and we have entered Frolic.
Dylan finds himself back at work. And I mean, we've had some great Milchick moments. We've had some incredible, but this episode might have took the cake for me. One being like the memes we said, the memes they'll come from. I'm sorry, but I'm just duly swamped. And like he's full on using the big words, could give a shit anymore. He's big wording it up. And then the out of frame slightly, the dashing away out of frame.
There were so many things we were like wondering why he's running down the hallway, unbuttoning it, taking off his tie.
Does anyone else work at fucking Lumen?
Yeah.
Because this man's doing
It's
everything.
just Milchick going from place to place because he had to rehearse.
This felt like all he's wanted is just to dance, and they
Yeah.
just won't let him be in charge of the dancing one.
It seems like he
That's all he
invented the music
wants.
dance experience.
Yeah,
That was his big revelation. We're going, well, what's he going to go do? Because when he's taking it off and he's doing the Milchick run, it always means big business. So when it finally happens, we get 100% MDR. Old Drummond's like, alert, Mr. Egan.
The animatronic goes, congratulations on your 100%, and then like it turns into a fucking game show.
The music is the Chicago Bulls entrance music from the 90s with Michael Jordan.
You know him, you love him.
And then the out of time entrance of it,
Yes.
that he just
Just
missed
a
it.
slight
Despite
pause.
the running, he still just missed it.
Dead silence and the punching the air. I was like, oh, I'm watching you in the kitchen when you're making a tea and you just decide to break out in boxing.
I don't know,
Cringe.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Then he gets up there, has this fucking roast-a-thon with the man himself. Yeah.
Milchick has a script, but then obviously whoever is playing Egan doesn't. And then, rips into him about the big words, and it obviously hits him. He's like, gonna fucking do something, which was one of the things we did want from the finale. We wanted a Milchick outburst. We did not get it, but he did express himself through dance because he brings on choreography and
Merriment.
That whole department.
who use instruments built by O&D, and we can only assume they're the dancers from the Waffle Party, or at least 4 of them are. But that still
Yeah.
means they have, 40 other people.
Maybe that's part of the experiment. Can someone who isn't musical as an arty
They come down
become
and learn
musical
music?
and being in it? Maybe it's part of that.
Or does music carry over?
Yes, maybe.
I wonder if the writers were like, what would Milchick's backstory be? Maybe he came from this other place and like that used to be his old department and he's just like,
He's
maybe
worked
we
his
should
way
bring
up.
him in. Maybe we should bring him in for like the end. Wouldn't that be fun?
But it's so weird that this company, but I guess that's the thing, is that Mark does not like this place. He does not buy into it anymore. So us doing this big, like, whoa, he's not going to get any enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, seemingly organized by Milchick.
Yeah,
just wants
but
to
they have to
dance.
do it because I guess that's the rules, right? When they do an MDR success, you have to do this big woo.
Song and dance?
This
Like
bit
song and
especially
dance.
makes me think that everyone's taking the show too seriously. Like, yes, it's a drama, character study, all those things, but it is just a big satire.
Of
Yeah.
workplace culture, yeah.
And we were missing a lot of that throughout the season.
Instead of a pizza party, they get fruit platters, which are even more boring. I guess. Whereas, this,
And egg
they don't want to
platters.
just do a weird orgy dance experience. They bring
Yes.
out a literal entire marching band. And I think they do say in the behind the scenes that they were just tossing ideas around the writer's room. Someone said, what about a marching band? And everyone went, we're doing it because it's so outlandish, so ridiculous, and
Yes.
fits the show perfectly.
That's
Because
it.
they've set up this insane world, and that is the beauty of the show. But that's why, like, there is no real deeper meaning here apart from this is funny.
I mean, give that intern a raise for the suggestion because they're like, how can I get Milchick to grind in the air?
How can I get him to body roll?
Body roll onto a cane.
And it gives us that sort of, if it's fan service or not, but more Milchick dancing, like we were saying. Sorry, I'm duly swamped, and then cut to him just doing the dances with the pole.
That's what he's been planning for months. Whenever we're like, why isn't he like making sure MDR is doing their job? Like Mark is falling behind because he's body rolling in the back room with M&C.
Yeah.
No real deep meaning, but the trombones are falling out of Irving's cup in the intro. So we
Yes.
finally find out what the trombones are because O&D has been designing trumpets.
Nice.
Because O&D goes back to the doors thing where Dylan's almost boss says, can you believe they make their doors in-house? They make their doors in-house because they make everything in-house. Like they can do whatever they want on the floor because they're always making it. So like the crib would have been made, like everything for Cold Harbour is just made down there. So the outside world has no idea what they're doing because they have a Shein plant like down there. Because we did talk about like, oh, are they selling cups and watering cans? But no, they need those watering cans for probably the flower and bouquet department or some shit.
Yeah.
So we've learned then that officially all of this, the past 2 years, is Mark refining Gemma. I still don't know what the other three have been refining then the whole time.
Other people, and they just found out that Mark is better at it because he's got the emotional connection.
Yeah.
I still like the theory that we came up with where it's they were there specifically designed to make Mark work best.
Yes.
But we don't know, and I don't think we ever will.
No.
And
It's not
the show
important.
doesn't care, and we've moved so far past that now.
Yes, we have.
Like, we're never getting anything similar because of what they do in this episode.
Cold Harbour's stressed because it is meant to be the most pinnacle. If you can sever from your peak trauma, like the worst thing you've ever experienced in your life, and not have it affect you when experiencing similar environments. So like, you know, she had a miscarriage and now she's dismantling a crib. And if nothing can bleed, then yeah, you can sell that to a lot of people that have
The new
experienced
you.
something. You want to sever from that? Yeah, the new you.
It does just mean it's down to money.
Yeah, but that's religion. That's corporations. They just want money.
It does just feel like we've all blown it up way too much, which is where my disappointment's coming from. It's like, because we did kind of figure it out early, it was never going to live up to it, I guess. But like, I did like the idea. I just feel like they played it up so much.
With this, people get so lost in the theories, you have to remind you, it's a narrative. They're telling a story about characters.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be this insane thing all the time. Like, you know, I was a big thinking like, oh yeah, the egg
Yeah, you did think that egg was coming back.
was going to be some time reveal thing that it hasn't been 5 months. It's been a weekend because look, the egg isn't knackered completely.
I think it's just, as someone who normally hates, I guess, deep diving in theories, like I like lots of questions. That's the irony.
Yeah.
Some people did not like that I said that. I love questions, and yes, I often get disappointed in the answers. I do feel like this episode was enough answer while still keeping us going for next season and
Yes.
wanting more. And there were still so many things in the episode that I felt like I was like jaw to the floor, like, oh, can't believe they just did that.
yeah.
Yes, I think the reveals were probably lackluster because of the way we've been treating the show, but everything else absolutely perfect. Yeah, like character-wise, event-wise, like scene-wise, all absolutely perfect. Because after this beautiful music dance experience, the plan all falls into action.
Helly grabs Milchick's radio as a way to bait him out.
Yes.
Giving Mark some time to run away, and she
Tricks it down the toilet, hides behind the door.
And then she locks him in the toilet and he cannot get out. It's basically her trying to keep him in there for as long as possible because Mark needs to follow a map, basically. The closest I got to tears in the episode, I reckon, was actually Dylan's bit.
Oh,
That was
interesting.
very beautiful to me. I don't know why. It was exactly what I
because you're a
wanted.
loser on the outside.
My innie's too powerful because it was so very well done, and it did cap off the Dylan thing exactly the way we wanted it to, while also keeping him around for a season 3 because he's a fan favorite. And it capped off his journey by pretty much exactly what we said 2 days ago. We wanted Outie Dylan to kind of use Innie Dylan as like the best he could be, the he could be. He refuses his resignation and writes him a letter, and then we get him to read out the letter. Point 1. Fuck you.
you.
What you did with
Very
my
Dylan.
wife was rude. Not cool, man. Point 2. fair play. Gretchen is perfect. I understand why you did it. And point 3, I kind of like knowing that you exist because you are the better version of me and hopefully I can live up to that, especially for my kids and Gretchen.
You feel like the Dylan version is very Black Mirror of man cooks himself with his wife.
Yeah.
It's very similar to
The astronaut episode?
The astronaut episode. I sometimes even thought about that weird ass episode where the dude is fucking his friend in VR in like the Tekken game.
Oh, the Anthony Mackie episode.
Yeah, the Anthony Mackie episode, and his wife accepts that he gets some kind of sexual pleasure about being in the video game.
Yeah. He does have almost a standalone story because like it's only really affected by Gretchen more than like Irving or anything. If anything, he kind of forgets Irving a little too much, maybe. We'll talk about it in the season review.
Irving is not mentioned at all, is he?
I think we're meant to forget about him. He'll come back next season.
He's outside waiting with Devin in the car park to get Gemma out. It's all going to work out. Devin better be in that fucking car park, like waiting for Gemma.
Oh, for sure.
Jesus Christ. Otherwise, awful planning, woman. So as Mark's running down the hallway, it's not a recreation of the first scene we get this season, but it's totally messy. It's great because like he's freaking the fuck out. He gets to the door he needs to go through, which is right across from the secret door where Drummond and now Brienne of Tarth are hanging out. They explain the goats. They do and they don't. I did say that I'd be happy with explanation as simple as they need the goat milk. And turns out the explanation is creepy cult shit.
This is our sacred animal. We sacrifice to help guide them in the afterlife.
I mean, there's going to be all these heavy goat theorists being like, oh, it's a sacrificial lamb, right?
We get like hieroglyphics that is like a goat being sacrificed, a goat being reborn maybe. It's a creepy ass room and they use a bolt pistol to put the animal down. The goat is going to guide a cherished woman into the afterlife. So we can only assume Gemma would actually be dying.
Had been killed, yes.
Yeah, so Gemma was going to be just like whacked after she broke apart the thing.
Because it said that it's going to be, not enshrined in the tomb, but
something like that. They're just going to bury a goat with Gemma because weird cult shit.
Weird cult shit.
Which is an odd explanation for sure.
Probably very realistic.
It's a way to say shut up about the goats without directly saying shut up about the goats.
I did find it an interesting production choice to have like she has her own like ceremonial dress.
Goat
like
funeral attire.
Yeah.
Because she does this all the time because she says how many more goats. Which is again the whole
She pissed.
MDR has been refining other people and maybe failed test subjects. If the chip broke, maybe they just killed their weird hostage test guinea pig and then buried them with a goat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brienne of Tarth, instead of fighting the hound this time, she fights the mountain.
Oh, I was going to make this joke. Very good.
Big man. And it is very good when Drummond walks outside, sees Mark, and just goes, what the fuck? And just smacks him right in the face.
That was one of my jaw drop moments. I
Shocking.
was so surprised at how just quickly and so viscerally punched him.
I feel like we also haven't seen Drummond stand next to that many people. He's always been sitting or like not near
Standing
them.
up next to someone sitting. So you can't really see
So now that we've seen him right next to Mark, he's a big boy, which is why they cast Gwendolyn Christie, because who can take out a big boy, a big girl?
Yeah, and we haven't really seen that kind of violence in the show. So to see like a full-on like fight.
Yeah, it's a complete change of pace. It's very much a movie. Like, do you know in the Simpsons movie how like the themes in the Simpsons movie changed so dramatically? It's like that's what this felt like. This is season 2's movie. Where they're like, we do fighting now.
Yes.
Gwendolyn Christie decides that she's had enough goat slaughter. The reason they severed these people is so that they didn't know what they were doing, obviously. But also, they'd raised their entire life with goats. All they've ever known is like goats and each other, so they love these goats. So it was kind of a dumb idea by Lumen to be like, kill your best friend.
But they don't think about that.
She names all the goats and then she has to watch them die. So she beats the absolute living shit out of Drummond.
Yes.
Wins the fight. Mark does help.
We had the subtitles on where Mark double legs Drummond, has him fall over. Drummond goes, oh, fuck. Like, like he's getting old.
Granddad's had a fall.
It's the realism of actual fights is that everyone's tired after 15 seconds. It's, you know.
Yeah, like even him trying to choke him and he's like slapping him away a few times.
Yeah.
Like,
Wrestling is insane, especially just the way he throws around Mark. He does the bad guy thing where he doesn't just punch him into a pulp. He like lifts him up by the legs.
That was insane.
Like Drummond just wants to prove that he's the biggest guy around. It does make me wonder whether he was an enforcer in Lumen, like how Bert was a long time ago. Maybe he worked his way up.
Yeah.
So we got Milchick being a dancer, working his way up to management, and then we got Drummond.
And there are little hints of him, that's too big of a word. And then in this episode, he said to her as well, what does that mean?
He's a big fucking dummy.
Maybe that's it, is that he's a yes man who's managed to get his way up.
Yeah, which would be the office office place satire of people that don't deserve their position getting...
Failing upwards, yeah.
Yes, maybe. And I'd love that probably won't ever be confirmed, but there's just little hints that he doesn't know what certain words mean.
Yeah. Maybe Miss One wasn't the one that brought up his big words. Maybe Drummond was spying on him the whole time and he's just sick of it.
Yeah.
Because he's a big dum-dum and he felt insecure. Gwendolyn Christie's about to pop his fucking brain because she is sick of it.
Which,
and
oh
Mark
my
says,
God.
whoa, we need him.
He thanks him.
We get hostage situation taking Drummond downstairs, and the absolute best moment. You wouldn't not spit out your drink.
No, in a second, I'm gonna change to my Audi, and then you are gonna take him to...
Doesn't just kill him, like gets him in the most brutal way of just get a hole in his neck, and then just blood everywhere. So then you get the incredible visual of just, Mark. Like, you want the Halloween costume.
It definitely feels like you see it as like the Dead by Daylight character, the new skin that you can get.
I think that is potentially the new iconic Mark.
Where's my Funko Pop?
Oh, for sure. You'll have like
With a little
bloody
blood gun.
Mark.
Yeah, it's almost like, Shaun of the Dead with the tie around the forehead
Yes.
type stuff,
Also just a great way for Mark to wake up in this. Like, he already knew he would be in the thick of it when everything went down. But even he probably didn't expect a dying fat man bleeding all over it.
Yes.
And then the door, like, holding it open.
Great.
They use it repeatedly because, like, in another little bit of mine, the blood on the tie, not a fan of that.
Oh, I really liked
I
it.
loved it.
I
thought
like
it was
the
so
idea,
good.
but why have a handprint if it doesn't scan your palm, if it's only after your blood?
Let's not forget that they literally had a light display for him to come in and finish his file. Like, they were like, we're going to turn all the lights on slowly.
They're very dramatic.
We're going to have it circle around, green neon on either side.
If it just wasn't a handprint, I love the fact that it did. Obviously, they're not going to, like, cut off his hand, because that'd be like every other movie or show is you pull out Drummond's eye and then you have to scan the eye, which is too much for this show. But yes, he uses the body multiple times because it blocks the door open to stop the elevator going up, and then he uses the blood to get into the cold Harbour room, so that's good. Small touch that was nice, the nurse that keeps getting jabbed in the finger, the tip of her finger is covered in like blood already because she's constantly getting stabbed in it. Just they paid attention to stuff, which is nice.
And that was great. Just her going, fuck you, fuck you.
Oh, it's like the scenes kept getting better. Like, I say Mark accidentally plunging this guy's neck, but then it's not a gun. It's a one
done.
shot.
It's happened.
And he's just like waving it around and she doesn't realize because she's panicking.
He might not have realised it isn't a gun.
Well, yeah, because all he saw was a dead guy bleeding all over him and he's holding something that feels like a gun.
I do feel like she almost probably does realize it's not a gun either, and is just like, I don't want to fight with you though. I don't want to have a physical altercation. I still don't want to deal with that, so I'm just going to let me fucking walk away. I don't want to deal with it.
It's the spouse.
It's the fucking spouse.
Yeah, brilliant. So Jamie's in his own little pod out of an elevator.
Yeah, a little cuck room.
Yeah, I was like, oh, daddy's first day at work. First time you're clocking in, buddy? Haven't done anything all year?
He's watching it with absolute joy that this woman is doing something directly related to her actual trauma, and then has his, oh, fuck, when Mark comes in, but only because she trusts Mark. She holds his hand, she drops the weapon, so maybe it's him going, it didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
And also everything's over because he didn't like finish Cold Harbour.
Yeah.
Like, I guess they needed the test to complete.
And God, the way they tease us with the whole that she isn't quite getting out. We're like, oh, someone's going to appear and they're not going to have just done it.
That Gemma has never met anybody. That Gemma
She's
has
never
only
even spoke, I think. Yeah.
Seen that room, heard voice, and then suddenly strange man covered in blood.
Yeah.
You remember what that is as an innie.
And that's the thing, like the power of the gut instinct that has shone through, because even in a room where you know nothing, absolutely nothing, and the voice has just told you to do something, you'd rather take a scary man in front of you that's like blah, 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 covered in blood.
Then the disembodied voice.
Yeah, that's more
This is
neutral.
not part of the test. They finally get their moment when they're back together.
Oh, it's beautiful. Her finally stepping through and then seeing Mark, and then him being like, okay, good. And we do got to go, though. They don't stand around kissing, like, forever. That's
Yeah.
good. We don't have time for this. Like, we're doing something. This doesn't slow down. This keeps the pace the entire time.
I do believe their chemistry a lot more than Mark
Of
and
course you
Helly.
do.
Gemma weirdly turns into an AI face.
It looked like a stunt actress to me.
Yeah.
Is that because maybe she wasn't there or the actress couldn't run? Was she injured or something?
It looked so different, though, I agree. I was watching that, and I'm like, but why? I mean, everyone watches shit on their phone now.
As Nolan intended. So
Yet another fantastic moment when they finally get in the lift and they get Drummond's legs out, perfectly timed, and then they start smooching.
What's taking place?
Miss Casey liked Mark.
There was a little bit there,
Yeah, there was a little bit
especially because that was the longest she's ever seen someone in one go. That's such an interesting thing, is like that they do keep swapping. It's like the intro, how like they're helping Like one Mark picks
Yeah,
up
it goes
Mark,
under
gets
the
him
next.
over.
Yeah.
It's crazy weird though. Gemma's cute and all, but Miss Casey's hot. I don't know what it is. That
Oh, you like women that have no emotions and avoid of everything?
Oh, come on.
Wow, women in products? Crazy. Yeah, you just need therapy.
She just says good things about your Audi. He just wants compliments. That's what it is.
Your Addie loves watching Bergenbeard.
They run, but meanwhile, poor old Milchick is trying his best to get out of that fucking bathroom.
I really did think he would give up because we wanted that Milchick, like, work-life balance. He's devout to the end.
Your bosses suck, and then the people you're in charge of also suck, and you're just there going, just fuck everything.
That's the thing. He really is just doing his job, and everyone is causing him grief.
Yeah.
That's why I did think it would be the final straw, when he would just be like...
I'm getting on my bike and going for a ride.
But instead, he does bust down the door,
He busted it down, then busted down the door.
Dylan brings in the snack machine,
which is alluded to in the video at the start, how, like, Dylan's obsessed with the snack machine.
but for me, without being daft, and who knows, but if you've got two people and a snack machine against the door, and one of them is the size of
Have you seen
Dylan.
Tillman's arms?
But yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Have you seen the cake on that man?
Yeah, I know.
That's
I
what he
guess.
used.
He has some hang time at one point.
Yeah,
You know, like. But then when he gets hit with the fucking instrument, he's like, fuck everyone
Yeah,
today.
I really
like,
did think we would get his crack, and he would just, like, sit down and be like, fine. But instead, he does bust out.
I do wonder if the writers were thinking, well, we've already had Cobell switch to being sort of on our side, so we'll save Milchick for season 3.
Too
He'll
much
be
for
a
one, yeah.
bigger arc for next
Although, what
season.
did Cobell
maybe.
really do?
Just invented all of Severance. Wow.
No.
Again, just gonna forget that the woman invented
But
something.
the plot, goddammit. But we'll talk about that in the season review. Oh yeah, Dylan's just constantly spending his time holding back Milchick from
That's
like ruining
it.
the plans.
And then I thought it would be like he'd bring out a knife and go, belt cut, motherfucker, or something
That
like
would have been a good little, if he had it.
You owe me a belt cut.
Someone's definitely written like a Wattpad fanfic about those two.
There's a theory that Dylan and Milchick are either related or are dating.
Can't confirm or deny.
Good, cannot.
It might be the relationship you've seen on screen, which is neither of those.
Right.
But
They just work at the same building.
It's Dylan having a waffle party and Milchick's there like, just checking you're enjoying a waffle party experience. Don't you want some peaches with your waffle?
Jesus.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
like Flanders.
Yeah.
Stupid, sexy Milchick.
Yeah.
He finally busts out, and then we get the Macrodat uprising.
Which was set up ages ago, which was a fake uprising, I think, that they did too.
To keep them away from each other, but they've, as Lumen does, inadvertently created the thing they were trying to stop.
Yes. It's crazy because I was saying to you, what is this show if we're not down there? What is the show? So what it is Westworld, like the you know the androids have become sentient type moment, and now it's going to be like the community paintball episode.
Yeah, I have no idea how it's going to work, and I'm kind of scared for it. They're very talented people working on this.
This has to be the third and final.
Creative challenge, my dudes. Like, they've set themselves up to just leave it.
Well, because surely Lumen has a shut down Severance program to just turn them all off
Big
and
red
go,
button.
hey guys, there's been an error. You need to come up and we're going to just call it for the day.
Because the overtime contingency was 2 levers that had to be held, you would assume that there is an on-off switch for everything.
Power has to cut somewhere unless it's in a satellite.
Yeah, it must be a constant signal, like a field for Mark to walk in and out of a building and swap back and forth. There is a constant field there.
I'm sure they're going to explain it. Or like I'm sure they have it. I get the sense of Dan Erickson, which is the whole point when it comes to world building and stuff. It's Tolkien actually built the iceberg, so you see the tip, and Tolkien's the mad lad who actually went ahead and built the iceberg. But most fantasy authors have put a bit of ice on a draft and are making you believe there's an iceberg
They're
down
just
there.
putting blocks on top of blocks.
But with this, I do feel like they actually have maybe gamed this out a bit. Like they've sat in the writers' room and went, right, because there's stuff in season 1 that now makes sense.
It's seemingly consistent.
Yeah.
We get another door barrier with switching. The last time Gemma and Miss Casey switch, because it's Miss Casey and Innie Mark the entire way up that top floor. And like, how secure is that? Like, can Gemma just walk upstairs and she's in the car park?
They have to have a fire escape, even if it's a company. They have to have one. From his perspective, they're not thinking me on the 10 seconds they're in. So he's like, if I get 10 more minutes with Helly and Gemma's safe, it's worth it.
They're in love, baby.
And so now you're going to have maybe some split fandom, because I have to
They're in
imagine there's
Lost.
plenty of
That's it.
there's plenty of people who like Mark and Helly, and they see the two pairings as completely different. And yeah, I was there hoping he'd go through the door, but I knew he wouldn't because, well, that's not interesting. Because if I'm Mark and I get through the door and I'm with Gemma, I'm like, yeah, fuck Mark all the way, let's go home.
And he's thinking that the whole time, like this might be the last moment he has. And it really is just like, we were talking about in the prediction episode, that it had to be a big choice. It had to come down to he picks one of the two women. The intro shows that they both run off in different directions.
Right.
And it just happens to be that Mark was the one that made that decision. So he chooses love and his own life because he's never met Gemma. He knows Miss Casey, sure, but even that was like...
That 1 second kiss in the elevator wasn't enough to rock his world.
Because does she know?
I don't know if she understands Severance.
Does she know that that's not her Mark?
Because they said almost nothing.
It doesn't matter because she will be told by Devon.
Well, that's if there's not a
Cobell.
security guard 10 meters behind her.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
They have to shut this down fast because she's now the whistleblower.
Yeah.
So she's going to go running out, so they have to grab her.
It seems like that would ruin everything we've set up, though. It feels like she has to get out, which is why I'm so terrified for season 3.
Well, you're going to have a position switch, aren't you? You're going to have Gemma reintegrating.
But yeah, the choice always had to be this. Like, it always had to end up this way. This is the most interesting thing you can do.
Oh, it's incredibly interesting.
Is make
No.
Gemma be the one that leaves and Helly and Mark run away together, even if it is just to freeze frame in the next hallway. But it had to be this. It's incredible.
I don't think it did.
I thought it was a...
I think Helly could be doing some revolting on her own inside. She needs reflection time. I'm about to explode if you don't let me say how much I hate everything. I don't think Mark looked happy at all the whole time. Any Mark, when he's running with Helly, I don't think he looked
he's
happy.
terrified.
He never smiled once. Where she, the fucking face on her, I was ready to smack her.
Well, that's because it's Helena and she finally got what she wanted.
Well, because, like, honestly, he's standing there and I think it's insane. And, like, look, obviously, it's fiction. I'm over it. It's okay. I'm so not over it. But the fact that Jem is there and he knows, like any Mark at least logically knows on paper, this is the person I've been married to for years and the person I love dearly. And she is screaming bloody murder for him after having such a trauma. Yeah. And then he turns around and sees bitch ass Helly standing there like,
I do want you to look at this face that
the
she
smirk,
pulls. Yeah.
the smirk. Oh, mate, I was fuming.
I mean, obviously, Mark hates himself right now as well because, like, he's condemning Mark to never seeing his wife again. Like, he's not happy with what he's doing.
The way she looks back at Gemma is pretty, like...
She's Helena. A little fuck.
Pretty Helena. Like, this is very much like love. This is very much like, holy shit, you chose me. That's crazy. And he's like, holy shit, I chose you.
I'm going to actually be sick again. I felt nauseous at the end of this. Don't make me do it again.
We're going to die in 10 minutes, but we're going to be together, and that's beautiful.
Little fucking bitch. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. You might be... It might be Helena.
Even if it's not Helena and it is just Helly, I'm standing by. We're going to see her be more like Helena as it goes on.
It's not an I'm sorry.
It's a fuck you, bitch. He chose me.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that. I wanted to punch her. I felt nauseous. Literally, I felt nauseous. I hate...
She's gonna start shadowboxing in the kitchen now.
The worst part
Fuck that Helena bitch.
I'm gonna put a little like dartboard up with her face on it. This episode when she was convincing Mark to go for it when he was doubting it, I was like, okay, Helly. Okay.
Someone's getting redemption in my books.
Maybe I was a little harsh on my little girl. And then this scene, it ripped my soul. Like, she's a sly bitch.
I will be very interested to see whether people are like...
Team Helly, Team Gemma situations, yeah.
Well, like, is everyone that was Team Helly now, like...
Flipped.
This was their true... Or were they like, why did she look at her like that?
She just convinced him to do all this, and then she's going to show up right at the end and be like... Let me just test this one more fucking time.
Oh, Dr. Mauer yells just as the elevator is closing, you'll kill them all.
I think the innie's right.
That would be my assumption, that Lumen does have a big red button that can turn them off. I don't really know who he's shouting that at, because neither of those two are innies currently. Like, that's Mark and Gemma Audi.
Or maybe you'll kill all the Gemmas that he's fallen in love with.
That'll be it. That's it right there.
Oh, no.
Yes, once Gemma leaves this floor, all of the other Gemmas are dead.
Yes.
I like it, which is why he cares so much, though, because I didn't believe he cared about the innies, which is why I'm like, that's a weird thing for him to, like, try to use as a leverage.
Yeah.
But no, it was desperation. It was all of his 24 girlfriends are about to die.
Oh.
Yes.
Yuck.
I love that it's heart-wrenching for you, though. That's what I want.
This might be more of a when we're talking about the whole season, but like I might go a few episodes, but I'm here going, well, yes, the flashbacks episode was nice with Gemma and seeing all that. Part of me's there going, we probably could have done this in 6 or 7 episodes or 9 episodes.
I will be more negative, I think, about the season structure in our season episode that's coming out in less than a week.
It's not House of Dragon season 2 bad of stretch.
We'll talk about that in the season review, because I think that's going to be very interesting, because it culminated perfectly. Like, I have 0 issues with this finale. I think the way we got here, maybe a little sprinkles of here and there, which is funny because you loved the entire season, but this is the one that makes you angry.
Look,
it's emotional anger. It's not like critique anger.
Yeah.
I'm a dead cold person 24/7. So when I watch stuff and it makes me feel again, amazing.
Don't say that. The actors will get big heads. They'll think they're important. They'll want pay rises.
I thoroughly enjoyed the season because, one, I get to linger and stare at all the just hot people in this show.
Helly's hot. Mark is hot. It is funny that everyone always says, like, CW shows, people are too hot, like, because they're hiring, like, beautiful...
Yeah, no, but these are, like, real hot people.
That's the funny thing. It's like they're real people, but they're not, a lot of them aren't traditionally hot.
No.
Like Christopher Walken, Irv, and Dylan, but people are, like, in the song,
moustache.
You're still like,
Hot.
Irving's hot, like, Birdie's hot, like, everyone's still hot, which is the
Dylan's
funniest
hot.
thing about the show.
I was thinking before, like, so you have flashback Mark, top tier. Below that, blood Mark. He's the second hottest Mark now that we've seen.
When you first meet him and he's like got the corduroy on.
Chewing on a pen.
Yeah.
Shut up and bend over.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm just a professor, you know. I'm just marking some papers.
Can't go past it. Hey, can't go past it. I need everyone to comment if you also hated that he chose Helly. And if you don't agree with me,
unsubscribe.
I'm deleting your comments.
I give this an IGN 4 out of 10, which is actually a 9 out of 10.
You see, I wouldn't even give this a 9 out of 10. I think this is my favorite episode by far. Like, absolutely
of
everything.
Season 2 of the whole
of the whole show, actually. I think.
Interesting.
I would leave it here, though. Personally, I would stop. I wouldn't season 3.
Do you think them running off into...
I think it's tragic.
Where else can you go?
I mean, I would obviously love more of the show.
I think there's one more season, and then that's it.
I'm so interested in how they will make it work, because, like, they've left themselves a pretty, like, Last Jedi situation here where they're like, what the fuck does episode 9 do?
I think this season was almost in service of getting this ending in some ways.
I reckon this last episode, but yeah. But that's why I love it so much. Because I didn't get certain explanations to some things, like what was Gemma's accident.
The board.
I think because we didn't get those, maybe they're not good enough answers, or maybe it won't flow as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm just terrified. Maybe I'm just like, hey, we had 2 banger seasons. What if 3 sucks? You know how hard it is to rewatch Game of Thrones?
I know how hard it is to rewatch Game of Thrones.
I don't want that for this. I don't want to watch 2 absolute banger seasons and go, fuck, do I leave it there or do I watch season 3?
At least in some ways, it kind of ends in a way that you could leave it alone.
More than any other show, which again makes me wonder whether they wrote this first.
Because Dylan's kind of ended, he's kind of made peace with his Audi, Irv's gone. No, I'm just saying, if season 3 is this shocker of a season, let's say hypothetically, you can go to people, unlike Game of Thrones where you have to pretend it ended in season 6 or something.
I feel like we've only just started unpacking these characters.
Put another pin in my they wrote this episode first, because they were like, we could just leave it. Streaming's crazy. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, they cancelled Big Door Prize, which still fucks me off.
The first one was a COVID show. Maybe that's why it blew up. We're scared. We'll make it so it's going to finish. And then, because it's weekly, they've been seeing people go, holy fuck, we love this show. So obviously they would go, Apple's on the phone to Ben Stiller going, dude, just
stretch
do
it out.
Just do it. Give me another season. I don't care what you have to do.
They know where they're going for season 3. That's what it feels like to me. Like they've still only given us what we need right now, and there's going to be bigger things. I just feel like there's more to explore, even in terms of their commentary about like corporations and religion. I feel like even though they've given us heaps, I don't know. I just feel like
They barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, and if you ever dare to leave this season on that ending, I'm going to get that bolt gun and shoot myself.
What if episode 1, Gemma turns around, there's a security guard, she's back inside, and
No,
then they
I
just
will-
turn off all the innies.
that
It's
will ruin
just
it.
so creatively insane to me.
No,
that
they'll
I'm like,
figure it
what are
out.
they
It's
gonna
going
do?
to
She'll
be. It's
get
either
out.
going to be like 6 months
Devin will help
later.
her. I've really enjoyed the season. Again, I love that it made my cold heart angry, and then cold, and then happy, and then cold, and then Milchick dancing.
Oh,
Fun.
regular Helena Egan over here.
That's why I hate her so much. I hate myself.
We're going to call it there because we are going to do a season in review, and I swear we'll cover different stuff to what we've just yapped about for the last 10 minutes. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. Plus, ring-a-ling the ding-a-ling bell. Do let us know below whether you are Team Helly or Team Gemma. But more importantly, if you were Team Helly, does that look? Or are you like, okay, I love Helly and Mark, but the original wife deserved Audi Mark, not any... I don't know. I'm very curious to see how this goes. It's going to be divisive, and I love it.
I would like a full psych evaluation on anyone who prefers Helly.